It's Tattoo Critique episode 9, and our first piece is from Peter. Peter says, been watching your videos and practicing like crazy on fake skin for a few months now. He used dot work as shading. Would appreciate so much any feedback we have. Cheers from Australia. So if we take a look at Peter's piece right here, we can see that there's some things that went all right and there's some things that didn't go quite well. Now, as you can see with the dot work, it's probably subjective to the person. These dots are a little dark and they're a little bit more spread out, if you will, almost giving it more of like a pixel look, which can be cool if that's, what you're looking for. The problem is when we push past that and we go into the line work. Zoom in and take a look, you'll quickly start to see that the lines aren't quite all there. Now, yes, up around the skull, you could say that they're shaky because maybe it was intentional. It's a skull, maybe it's got some texture going on. But when you get into the gas mask area itself, there's not really a lot of texture in a gas mask. They're pretty smooth. So I would say continue to work on those lines. This was your first tattoo. You got to feel what it was like. You understand it now. And you understand that lining is not as easy as maybe it felt or saw or whatnot. Key things, stretch the skin. It's overlooked. Remember, it's from point to point. Get in, continue to move through it, and pull out. If you're coming in and you're coming in, if you're sketching it or trying to be scratchy or breathe in or shaking, just stop, slow down. Anyhow, that being said, I wouldn't worry too much about shading or whatnot at this point. I would just continue to work on those lines, and I thank you for sending that in. Our next piece is from Pedro. He is from Brazil. He started tattooing 2 months ago, and these are some of the works he's done in fake skin and the first tattoo in real skin. Says he learned a lot from the channel on YouTube, and thank you. So if we take a look at some of his work in fake skin, you can quickly tell he's doing a pretty good job. He understands the lining, the shading's looking okay. He's on his way. So I think he felt like he was ready to hit some real skin. He did so. And if we take a look at his piece right here, you can see that it's a pretty good tattoo, especially considered first time on real skin. It looks like it's put in well, it's there, it's not going anywhere. The shading is pretty smooth for a first time tattoo. And again, if we stop for a second, he also sent us a piece without the shading. We can take a look at just the line work. Now I have to say, again, about 70% of this has one pass, crisp lines, but there are definitely those that have gone over a few times or whatnot, a little thicker than others, consistency issues here. But for a first tattoo on real skin, how consistent can you be? So again, really good job here for your first tattoo on real skin. I again see like up in the handle where it's a little bit thick and things may have gone a little sour there. But again, once you added that shading and whatnot, the eye is a little bit distracted from that. So again, as a whole, a decent piece. Continue to work on that line work, but I think telling by what I see here, you just need a little bit more time in the skin, getting a little bit more comfortable and what have you. So keep working at it, and thank you for sending that in. Our next piece is from Nicholas. Nicholas has been tattooing just over a year. It's been something he always wanted to do for quite some time, and he's grateful to the channel for helping him out. So let's take a look at Nicholas's work. Now here you can see that it's this pretty cool color piece. I can see what's going on here. I can tell what it is. It's bold, it's there. Now, if you zoom in on this piece, you'll see that those thick lines going around, well, pretty much the thick lines used throughout, have this weird sort of softness to them. They're not quite 100% in there, or they're not quite fully saturated. Sometimes one side of it's a little dark and the other is kind of light. Not 100% sure how this is going to look when it heals, but I don't know that that liner, or maybe that round shader that you're using to line with, is at the proper angle to make sure that those needles are going in consistently. If you're running them at a side, from a side angle, then maybe one side will be dark, the other side will be a little soft. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting here. So you might want to think about your machine angle when running with these thicker lines. Now, when it comes to the color, I will say the color is bright. It is there. The yellows pop, the reds are there. So as far as saturation goes, nice job. Now, when you went to a smaller needle, there were definitely some inconsistencies around the eyes and the nose and whatnot where things just weren't perfectly smooth. But again, you're learning, you're doing a lot of things. You're lining with smaller needles, bigger needles, packing color, doing some whip shading. So again, not bad. You're going in a direction, just showing a few things that I think that you could work on. Now, if we jump over to the skull real quick, you can see a lot of the same things here that we saw in the last piece. Now, I really do like this piece a little bit more. The lines are even smoother. The shading is nice. I see some black and gray going on there. Really cool. I'm digging this piece, a little white in the teeth. You're trying new things, and it's looking pretty good. The biggest problem, again, I have here is with the bold lines. For some reason, I don't think they're really getting 100% in there and packing quite properly. But again, I think with time, you're going to figure that out, and when you do, those lines are going to be nice and crisp. Keep at it, Nicholas. You're doing good, and thank you for sending that in. Our next piece is from Marcus. Marcus says, hello, I love your videos. You're really inspiring me. I'm tattooing for 1.5 years and nearly 1 year on fake skin and 6 months on real skin. Please give me some feedback, and please keep doing what you're doing on YouTube. Cheers, Marcus. So if we take a look at Marcus's work on fake skin, you'll see that these are some really nice pieces. He spent the time, he went through, he did different styles, different things. I'm sure there are plenty more sheets that are not here that he also did, that didn't look the greatest, that had rough lines, that did, you know what I mean? There was a process to get to that point. Once he was at that point, he thought, okay, now I'm going to try real skin. And you see the quality here and how it translates to real skin. It's very different. Things aren't quite as easy. They're a bit harder, but I think he's doing a good job. Now, if we take a look at his work on real skin, we'll start here with this piece here. I have to say this shading is really nice. Like that smooth shading from light to dark, it's nice, and when that heals, it's gonna look really smooth. Now, if we check out the next piece, we have this nice little lotus. It's simply done, but it is well done. Are there some issues with the dots? Yes, there are, but as you know when you're tattooing, you have to get a feel for things, and you're gonna make some mistakes. So I imagine he's learning from those mistakes. And if I were you, I would just a little less when it comes to those dots. And here, guys, again, I'm just beating a dead horse, but are any of these tattoos that I'm showing you right now perfect? No, but I'm showing you how somebody went from spending a lot of time on fake skin, then going to the real skin and getting probably a much better result because of the time they spent and the patience they had. Here you can see that the lines are quite smooth for this script. And finally, we got this really cool little owl, which again, the black is in there nice. So you have this decent amount of skin tone to black to smooth shading and what have you. I like the soft shading in it. It's enough. It is enough. I think it is well done. Could you put a little bit of black here and there up in the corners? Yes, but that's me. So again, good job. Continue at it. And I'm happy to share how you went from fake skin to real skin and the amount of time it truly took to have a decent result. So thank you for sending that in. Our next piece is from Cody. Cody says, hey man, love the videos. Been watching and thought I'd send some of my work. I'd love to apprentice somewhere, but don't even know where to start. I'm 37 years old out of Dallas, Texas. All right, so let's start with this Dallas, Texas piece. So at first glance, I honestly think it looks relatively decent. You zoom in a little bit though, and the lines going around Texas are a little bit shaky and some just not even there at all. Along with the lines going around the star, also a little shaky, a little thin, but again, as a whole, not too bad. Now, the cool thing here is we can take a look at it healed, which again, from a distance, this looks pretty cool. A nice little Texas piece with the star, but like I said, you can see those lines are having a hard time. Some are missing, some are just not there. They're super shaky. And if we jump over this piece, I think the same thing applies. From the right distance, it's like, oh wow, that looks pretty cool. But again, you don't have to get too far away to start seeing that it had some serious inconsistencies. The main inconsistencies are in those lines. There's a lot of little lines going through here, these swoops and what have you, and I see a lot of pickups and restarts and just shakes. Pretty much anywhere there's a line, there is a bit of wobbliness. Couple things could be the issue here. One is that you're using too small of a liner for your skill, for where you're at and your ability in tattooing. So I would use a bit bigger of a liner, maybe a 7-round liner, a 9-round liner, but whatever this is, I'm gonna say it's just too small and it's causing you to see even more of the inconsistency. So a little bit bigger of a liner, again, stretch that skin. And the biggest thing is if you're learning to line, don't give yourself a job that is essentially all lines. Where if you screw it up, it's all you can see are these lines that you can't hide, you can't change, you can't fix. They're out in the open. So think about the pieces that you're doing when you're learning, because again, this is right out there in the open. Now, what I will say is that shading, I see what you have going on there, a nice little gradation. It needs some improvement, no doubt, but you know what? I think it looks pretty cool, and it'll probably heal out pretty decent as well. We're gonna end on this piece right here, and I'm hoping this is your most recent piece, because when you zoom in on this one, the lines look much crisper. Are they perfect? No, but there is such an improvement from those other pieces that make me think you must have done this one most recently. That, or these lines are just a little bit smaller and not quite as long and swoopy as the other one, so maybe you had a little bit more success. Aside from that, the color is packed in well, the black is packed in well. I think it's a decent piece overall on this piece. So continue at it. With time, things will improve, but again, try different needles and try not to take on jobs that are gonna push something you're learning too far until you get there. But again, thank you for sending that in. I just want to say thank you to everybody for sending in their work. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe, ring the bell to get notifications when we post, and until next time, peace.